Okay, I have 9 o'clock. Oops, what? Okay. Good morning. Happy August. I was saying, it is so nice to see all of these full seats this morning. Everybody's grandkids must have gone back to school like mine did. Let's turn this on first. There we go. Okay, so, if you could silence these things, please. Okay. Go, there's a little button, turn the sound down to turn it off. Whatever, okay? Okay. We have a really full agenda today. And got John and Bettinger's going to speak, and Jessica going to come in. Okay, all right. To talk about an update on the New World screwworm, which you know, it's not all doom and gloom, but it is pretty serious, and not just for livestock owners. Okay, it's going to affect pets, people, wild animals, so it is important for us to understand. So yeah, so we got a bunch of stuff going on. So, first, I would like to introduce our newest Texas Parks and Wildlife Advisor, Morgan Denger.
Morning, everybody. Thanks for having me this morning. It's great to fill this role and kind of take the place Jordan was the previous one, and I share a similar role as she did at Sea Center, Texas, as a program coordinator. So operating the visitor center, volunteer program, running events, and I'm also the dive safety officer at the dive program. So those are a few of the things I do and with Texas Parks and Wildlife. A little bit more about my background. I graduated from A&M in Galveston with a marine biology degree. Have some experience in the education department at Moody Gardens, as well as at a nonprofit in Galveston that focused on ocean conservation. And then a little bit of experience with substitute teaching in the public school district as well, in Portland, Texas, so near Corpus Christi area. That led me to where I'm at now at Sea Center. So a little bit about me. I'm excited to be filling this role. If there's anything I can do to assist you, or if you have questions, feel free to grab me. I'll try to be in person most of the time as I can, but if not, you can always email me or grab me virtually. So thank you. All right. Thank you.
Okay, we have any visitors this morning? Now we have one right here. Okay. Yeah, it's important, so. It's important.
Here, my name is Brandy Morse. I'm a recent empty nester and looking for a stay-at-home mom. So all my kitties are gone, so I'm looking for something to fill my time. I love the area out here. When we moved back here 4 years ago, we bought some land, so we have some cattle, and some bees, and some chickens, and I'm learning how to garden. And just trying to learn all the things about being self-sufficient and filling up my time. So I'm excited to see what I can learn here.
And she will be in our next intern.
Thank you.
Did y'all get that? It's gonna be in the next intern class.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need your help, y'all. Okay. Yeah, we've had, posted on your social media and your neighborhood groups, whatever. Let's help us tell people that we have this training class coming up, okay? I can tell you there are still, I run into people all the time. They go, what is that on your shirt? What's a master naturalist? Is that are you a nudist? It's nature. Like, seriously, I'm not kidding. No, they don't understand, right? So, if we want to keep, I mean, it's great to see so many people here this morning, but if we want to keep going for the next 25 years, okay, we've got to be self-promoting, okay? So, just saying, right? Who's got a birthday this month? Somebody. Oh, Cynthia, Marlon. I can't see who that is. Oh,
David.
David, her, Daddy. All right, well, happy birthday, y'all. Okay. Oh, all right, let's see, what else? All right. So, unfortunately, we lost one of our members, Roy Morgan. I did see several of y'all at his memorial service. It was a beautiful service. Lots of stuff you find out about people when it's, after they're gone. So, I guess share your stories now, if you can, okay? It was, Roy was a really nice man. And if you didn't know him, he taught me the art of casting inside the library. The little kids and the plastic fish. So, anyway, we're sad. Sad that, he's passed. But, again, tell your stories now, okay? All right, let's see. Okay, moving right along. Donna, Secretary Extraordinaire, sent out our meeting minutes from July. Did anybody have any changes, any additions to the meeting minutes? Okay, can we get a motion to approve, please? Okay, Rose, second, Nanette. All in favor of approving the meeting minutes from last month? Any opposed? Okay, meeting minutes have passed. Okay, what's next here? Okay, we have some initial certification. Barbara? It's you.
It's my turn.
It's your turn.
I think here.
Yes. I came in. I should have just had you come up. You make your grand entrance.
Yes. Right. So I'm proud to say that Ron and Becky have received their initial certifications. He's worked very hard doing sea turtle patrol and even had the luck of finding a sea turtle during their patrol from ashore and lay her eggs. Wow. So congratulations and your pins from there.
You gotta get it.
Oh, I shouldn't need that. Oh,
All right, we're fine.
You just maybe back up into the corner.
And I have to say, Becky, God love her. She was out there, working after she had, well, we made her supervisor, after, a hip injury, so. But that's her dedication.
I remember that.
I do.
I took her chair. Thanks.
Congratulations. Oh, okay.
Well, congratulations.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, two of our exceptional interns.
Not anymore.
Okay, try.
They're not different.
All right, next. Okay, we have, where's John? There he is. Okay. Lots of recertifications this month, y'all, so.
Good morning, everybody. Let's see, we have 3 milestones and we have a number of recertifications. If you've got your pin already, which I tried to do, please come down and have your picture taken. If you haven't got your pen, come down and get your pen. So we have Scott Brown, Kimberly Calhoun, Larry Kurtner, Barry Epner, Brian Hanson, Rainbow Johnson, Nicole Lockman, and George Monterey.
Here's Jerry.
Milestones. Yeah. Milestones separate.
Well, one big group. We only have that many of us. We'll get them together.
Oh.
He's a milestone.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to do them separate. He's a
We're gonna
milestone.
do separate.
Okay.
Milestone.
Second on the other.
We all know that. He's a milestone over. Okay, here we go. But everybody speaks that way a little bit when the feeling's not in the background. I gotta be Dick. I gotta be Dick. Yeah.
All right.
You three.
Back to three.
Yeah.
And then. There we go. There's our milestones. Jim.
They're looking for you.
Jim. Lisa.
My. Oh, for my, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So Lisa had 500 hours. Okay. Jim, 1,000 hours. So Jean had 250. So last night.
Hey, here we go again.
All right, thank you.
Going to have this new certificate from the membership director. The question is going to be, in a piece of paper, because you have to be official to do this, name the 11 North American ungulates. To get this prize certificate, you have to have all the right answers and none of the wrong answers.
Okay, gotta go look that word up. I think I know what it is. Okay. All right, so our impact data for July. So we had 800 hours, volunteer service, 77 AT. Year to date, we're at 9,300 hours volunteer service time. That's really good. Total hours for the year, 10,678. Our impact data, adults, 156, youth, 811, almost 1,000 people last month. For the year, almost 19,000 people, which is really good. One thing I would like to remind people, if you're doing an event where there's multiple volunteers, the leader of that event should be entering the impact data unless they assign it to somebody. Because what can happen is if Susie enters the impact data and Joe enters the impact data, and then we get double and triple counted. So, anyway, just a little reminder, okay? All right, but, so this is our impact data. It won't be official until middle of next month because y'all have 45 days to get everything in. Unless you're like me and you forget sometimes and then you got past the 45 days.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes I do really good and I do it every week. And then sometimes it's every 2 weeks and then I get the grandkids for almost a whole month and yeah. Okay. All right, Jimmy.
I'm gonna do it today.
Oh, you're doing it.
I'm gonna introduce today.
Okay.
Okay. So our speaker for today, I'm gonna do two, so wait till we get finished. We have Jessica Chase. She's worked for AgriLife Extension as an agriculture agent for 11 years. She says her entire life has been involved in agriculture. She grew up raising sheep, growing hay, and later working on sheep and cow dairy, working with beef cattle. And she loved being part of the agricultural industry. And then we have our own John Bettinger. He grew up on his family's cattle ranch and horse ranch north of San Antonio. His personal interests are focusing on white-tailed deer in the central and southeast regions of Texas. He has access to several large ranches totaling over 30,000 acres for game camera and firsthand viewing. We've all seen some of his photos that he shared. In the 50s and 60s, he successfully treated his own cattle and horses and goats for various screwworm infestations.
Jessica's gonna lead the program. It's a two-part package. She's gonna give you the official Texas position on screwworms. And I'm gonna give you hands-on experience and talk to you about ungulates. And to see how you're doing on your leg list. How many are there? There are 11. Native, naturally occurring, North American ungulates are hoof critters.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Can I see that? Or-
No,
No, okay, gotta reshare something.
yeah, let me,
All right, I apologize. I forgot that you guys do virtual and in person. So I didn't prepare any slides or anything since this is really, really short. So I'm gonna pull up the website that's got a lot of information and everything so that people online can see kind of what we're talking about. So yeah, they asked me to talk about screwworms, but not really on the history or anything, because we can go on for hours and hours on this, but more of just like currently what's going on. But I'm gonna ask how many people are, have heard or are familiar-ish with the screwworm situation and okay, see, I heard you that. Wow, the whole class is like, man, you guys are really good at participating. Okay, so I definitely don't have to go over the history.
We still want to know, I mean, we've heard that it's going on, but.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a current update on it rather than like the whole 9 yards of history and really, really in depth on it. I mean, you guys can ask questions, of course, at the end. I'll let you know, I do have some publications over there. There's lots more, but I'm gonna show you. John's gonna share it and stuff of where I got a lot of this. There's a lot of information online, guys, and a lot of stuff that may or may not be accurate. So I'm gonna show you the websites that are the best ones to go to. They're gonna be the most accurate, up-to-date information. But
Once-
first off, I'll start. Good. Oh,
no, I'm going to be good here in a second.
okay. I'm gonna start with the confirmed cases and what's going on right now in Texas. So we do know that it did cross over the border. It had been kept in Mexico for a long time. They were trapping along the Texas boundary. There we go. From here to, along the Mexico border right there. So it did cross over a few months ago. Back in the first case was on June 3rd in Zavala County. It was found in cattle, and then I think everyone heard on 6-7 in Lee County, it was found in a dog. So that's the only there's 3 dogs that have been found. It's been found in sheep, cattle, and goats so far, so all the livestock here. Total animal cases were at 45, but the inactive, there's 42 inactive. So 3 of those cases are actually active right now. So they've controlled, they've watched, they've handled the other 42 cases, which is really good. That's in all these months so far, only 45 cases, y'all. So up here is the map of the counties. I can list them all out for y'all if you want, but that's where the 2 active cases are right now. And those are Pecos and Brewster counties. They're still working on mitigation efforts are ongoing. So what happens is they did find screwworm there, and when they found it, basically they come in and they inspect. Texas Animal Health Commission, USDA, the whole 9 yards, all the government officials. They come in and inspect them. Then they start a plan with them. So they treated the cattle, the sheep, and the goats, wherever it was. They treated them with approved medications. So there was some emergency approved medications for screwworm. It's been a past couple of months they've been doing this, and I did print this out. And those online, John can get you guys all of these also. So they were treated, and then once they're treated, they continuously watch them. And most of these cases were found in calves. Oh, George, I left my phone up there. I had some pictures from the presentation at Beef Cow Short Course. So most of them were found in calves because the umbilical cords, when they're born, there's that open wound. So most of them have been found on something along those lines. A few ever have been found because of scratches or something, but that is most of the cases is because of the umbilical cord. So what they do is then they come in and they create zones. So there is an inspection zone and a restricted zone. It's not quarantined. It's not that they can't move, it's just restricted. So when they do want to move livestock in and out, they have to basically call and get an inspection to make sure that animal is okay. And then they can move them out. You can move animals in all you want without inspection into that zone. Hopefully not a lot of people are moving their animals into those. But to move anything out, they do have to just inspect it and then you can move them out or anything. So it's not like things are quarantined. They're not going in like some cases and, you know, complete removal or anything. They're just treating stuff and watching it. So right now, though, I think people want to know what is the USDA, what is Texas, what is everyone doing to control this? So you guys have heard of the sterile fly, right? All right, yeah, pretty much everyone on that sterile fly. It's pretty awesome. So what they're doing right now is, I'm gonna go back a little bit. So they opened up dispersal facilities. And this is where they can actually disperse the fly. So they're not actually making them there, they're just dispersing them there. So they're getting them from Panama, which is the only facility that produces the sterile flies. And they are shipping them over, and they're shipping them over like cold packed. And then they're able to disperse them, and they're working on different disposal systems. History-wise, they used to drop them from the planes and they, you know, the boxes and stuff. Now they're working on different methods for that. If you find screwworm, they can get flies to them usually within 48 hours. So they'll get about 100,000 flies to the facility within 48 hours. I say dropping them all around that area, and then they'll go from there. So they've opened ones in the Moore Air Base. That one is open. And it can be capable of 100 million sterile flies per week. And that sounds like a lot, but it's right now it's doing really, really well. So and then in Mexico, Tuxtla, use my Spanish, I'm not good at that. They have a dispersal facility also that can do about 100 million flies. Then we've helped with Mexico. They are making to renovate a fruit fly facility in Matapa. It was completed in June and it's ramping up, so it's already producing about 100 million sterile flies, and they're hoping to produce about 400 million as soon as they finish the facility. So that'll be really great help with it. And then they are working on a facility in the US to be able to do make the sterile flies, but it probably won't be ready until about 27, maybe 27, 28. But they are renovating and they are making a sterile fly facility there. There's also another facility in Pecora that is doing the 100 million sterile flies a week. So that one was in Panama, and they were already making them to help keep the line in down. And the problem was that they weren't able to produce enough sterile flies to be able to keep it. Once it crossed and went upwards, they needed more of them, and that facility wasn't big enough, basically. So that's why they've made new ones.
Can you explain the benefit of the sterile fly? Because I sort of understand, but not.
Yeah, of course, yes. That one. Oh, I didn't put that one. Okay, so the sterile flies, what they're doing is the flies, the females only mate once. And then they die. So so what they're doing is they're creating sterile flies, and it is male and female. So that 100 million, though, it's a split between them. So basically they use some radiation and they make it so they can't reproduce. So when they go out and mate, the females do lay their eggs, but nothing happens with them. And so that's how they're kind of controlling, because then they die and they're trying to keep that population low. So they have that. They are working on trying to make just female flies. Hopefully that will be out in the next year or so. They're doing a lot of research with the AgriLife is really working with this. They worked with all the medications and stuff. So hopefully they will be, but when they make them, then they hatch here, or they put them on cold packs. They bring them here and they hatch. They also put a dye on them that goes under UV light so that we know which ones are the sterile ones and which ones aren't, because they have put traps. We had traps all along the border there, but they also put traps all around the counties and the areas that screwworm was found. So in those traps, and they're easily able to go through and see if any of those are the sterile screwworm flies, or if there's other ones, and they have not found any of the sterile ones in our traps, which is fabulous. It means that they're out there hopefully doing their job. But that is one, if anyone hears that they're bright green or something, they're not actually bright green, like they just roll them in a dye, and it's a light you have to put on there. So because I have people like, there's green flies, there's not green flies. So I think we had.
What's the life cycle of a fly? So how quickly does this have an effect?
Oh, pretty quick. So just like other flies, I believe it's like 11 to 13 days. I didn't go back that far, but we can pull that sort of stuff up, but it's just like other.
We've got all that.
You've got all that on there? Okay. You don't have to go too much into the history, like just the general of it and stuff, but it's pretty quick. It's just like, and she can lay a lot of eggs. I mean, the stuff I printed also, guys, there's some really gruesome photos on some of this. So we always put a, clicker beware, on there. So there's sometimes some photos that if you have a queasy stomach, just, be warned on that one. But yeah, and they can produce hundreds and hundreds to thousands of eggs on each when they lay. So yeah, it's like a normal fly. So I don't know if you guys know how they operate or not. I don't know if you want me to go into that, how to tell screwworm versus not. Okay. So back up a little bit on that one. So we use the New World screwworm. There is another screwworm, but it doesn't operate the same on it. So remember, this is the New World screwworm. We always kind of shorten it to just screwworm, but it is the New World screwworm. So what's happening is this is actually native, but this screwworm feeds on live flesh. So that is the difference between it and the other flies that you find. So what it's doing is it's finding like that umbilical cord or scratch, something that even as small as a tick bite can attract these. So they go in and like I said, what they're doing is they're actually eating the flesh on them. So they will kind of burrow or screw into the flesh and start eating all of it. What's left behind is that dead flesh, and then you get the other types of flies and the maggots and everything that are normal in the presence of either dead flesh and they're eating it. So if you suspect that you have screwworms, there is protocols with it, and that's printed out over there and also all on here. So if you do suspect you have it, you do need to report it. You can call me on it, and I can help get to the right person, but you can also go straight to one of these websites, and I'll click through a couple of them. You go to any of those and you can get someone to help with it. There's actually a protocol on how to do a sample collection on it, but that's the difference, is you can't just collect what's on the outside. You actually have to like get into it. Yeah, I know the faces that, yeah, you have to get into the flesh and get those ones that are, kind of down inside that wound and everything, because the stuff that's going to be on the surface is dead. It's very particular, and I'm just going to talk about it, but there's apparently a very, very distinctive smell that goes with this, because they're feeding on that live flesh and there's the dead flesh that's left behind. So there is a very distinctive smell to it that is not just normal, rotten, decaying type of smell. They're not going to be on a dead animal. Like I said, they have to have that live flesh. So I had someone, there was like roadkill or something, that they're not going to be on that roadkill or anything. The animal could be up and moving because it could be a minor wound. So it could cause a little bit of sickness in them. But as it gets worse and worse, then that animal gets more and more sick. And it depends on where that wound is. Obviously, the umbilical cord is really hard spot on those calves. But I've seen some that it was just like on the ear of the cattle. They were able to save it because they just like remove the ear on it, or they treat it. So they are safe. You can save them, and they're still okay for processing and to eat if they are for that, as long as it's not in that specific meat area. So they are safe on all of that. So yeah, that's kind of how it works on them. So I don't want to go too much into it or show some graphic photos if y'all want. It can be found on any mammal. There's a couple of birds, but it can be found on any mammal. So anything warm-blooded, and that does include humans. There has been some cases of humans. I don't have that number here. But it's a handful of cases. They've all been found pretty quickly. I mean, I really hope that something's eaten into you, you're gonna find it pretty quick. But those have been mostly like someone, I know originally someone went down and traveled to Mexico and then came back with it or something, so. But they're doing inspections at, all of the, auctions, livestock facilities, obviously all the quarantine areas, our disaster assessment and recovery team, our DAR people, they are down there helping along with the, Texas Animal Health, USDA, Texas Parks and Wildlife, everybody's in on this. They're inspecting animals as they're going through to try to catch anything at those auctions.
So when you say inspection, is that basically just a visual looking for an open wound?
Yes, I mean, they're looking for wounds, they're looking for those flies, so just kind of looking the animal over. Especially like I said, when they're moving through those auctions, they can get a pretty close eye on them. And if there is anything, then they, if they see some wounds, they can pull them.
Well,
And
there's no
do
blood test or anything like that, it's just a visual on the.
It's a visual, there's no blood test for it, no, it's a pure visual. Cause I say, you see that wound, you're gonna see some stuff in it.
Were you seeing maggots in there?
Yes, that is what, that's what you're looking for. So like I said, when they start digging in, you'll find the maggots deep in the wounds. But I said, there's some pictures I can pull up. You guys want to see them that you can. Yes. I think I'm probably going way over time, but we can't figure that. But there, you can see them on there. So, all right. You guys asked for it. You got. Oh.
2 days, that station, cap, there's a hole in the side of the alley.
Okay, so right here is our AgriLife website. You could just Google TAMU and screwworm. This has information on it. It has, like I said, there's the counties. This is the new, the news that's going on. There is an online course that you can do to make you an inspector, but it's like a 4-hour course that gives you a lot more in depth in what to look for. We're not going to like call you out to be an inspector or anything. They might call us, but that's just a course that you can take if you really want to get more deep into it, and just more knowing what to look for. It does have upcoming events if you want to go to a seminar that's just on screwworm. Here's our publications. So we do have just a fact sheet. So it shows, I said, some of these are over there. Come on. Oh, that was behind that one. All right, so there's a picture right there. That's what it looks like. The fly itself, you can ID the fly itself. It's got like an orange spot behind its head, but that's really more difficult on it. And people bring the flies, but we're really more concerned about the maggots themselves rather than flies. Yeah, the fly, I said I think it's between 11 and 13 days. It should be right on here. So we have that one. There is the wildlife management one. I don't know too much about the wild, but they haven't found any cases in wildlife, but they have cameras. Texas Parks and Wildlife has cameras out to watch for wounded animals or anything, and if they can do something about it. So far they haven't found a case in Texas of wildlife. There has been cases in Mexico. What to do if you find it, if you do have livestock, companion animal care. I do have that one over there because it can be found in dogs and cats. This is the one I think that has a good. All right, there you go. So that's the picture that, you can see it is in a dog. It got inside of its mouth. And so you can see all of those eggs and maggots that are right inside there. But as it burrows deeper, it'll get other ones that are feeding on that dead flesh. And then those will keep on burrowing deeper and deeper. And the wound's going to get bigger on it. Unfortunately, let's see, I don't think there's another one that. So this is our website. We do have stuff in Spanish also, if you guys know if someone needs that. And then additional resources down here. So there's the video, but right here is links to all the other websites that are very accurate, up to date on what's going on in screwworm. So where I found, if you guys want, this is like a live. There we go. It's like I would say live feed of what's going on. So I did print this one out. But if you go to this website, it will tell you where we're at. So new cases, inactive, active, where they're found, what's going on with them. So this right here, I said you can do times, dates, you can click on county. So this is up to date of it. So next week you can check it, the week after, just to see, because it kind of hit the news and spiked everywhere, but it's dropped back down a little bit and isn't as reported as much. So if you're curious to watch it, you can watch right there. Then they have publications too. And then they have a website. So that was where the map was. Here's the guidance on restriction. Like if you're going to move anything, if you're in those counties, you can click through this and it will tell you what you do need or don't need, whether you need that inspection or not. There's some history on it. Pest, the erratic. So there's the eradication. Here's the sterile insect technique. Oh, okay. I don't want to sign anything. So that's where how they do it, producer guideline, reporting on it. So yeah, we've got a lot of information that is out there. This one might have a, nope. I think I have this one over there. I didn't print enough for everyone, but we can get more of them. Here's, like I said, the kind of the life cycle right here, how to check them. The best thing to do is if you have, especially if you have any livestock or animals down, or if you go hunting or something or whatever, if you're down in the area where these cases are and you see something and stuff, please report it. That's kind of the biggest thing is report it, report it, report it. We'd rather report something that's not it than miss it or something. But if you have any animals down there, and if anyone has any sort of livestock or a family or someone else that has livestock, the biggest thing that we can do is keep eyes on those animals, constantly be watching them and looking for those wounds, pulling any of them up that have wounds, treating them, watching the calves if you can pull them up and stuff when they calve so you can watch them and everything, because that's the best thing we can do. There is the sterile flies that are there, as if there is some treatments and stuff, but it's only so effective. So the best thing we can do is still watch on it. So like I said, the College of Veterinary Med, the FDA, this is the animal drugs. I've printed that one out. I got the publication over there. This one, that's what can be used, that is legal to use on them. They made emergency ones, but not all of them were labeled for use in these animals, and the restrictions that are on them. Here's USDA's website. Like I said, they've all got them, and we all link to each other on them too. So you could sit all day long and go through all of these different websites, and as a PDFs, we've got more of them. So is there any more questions? That kind of.
How do they determine how many sterile flies to release based on the population volume that they know that exists in the wild? They release thousands of sterile flies.
So how many flies are released?
Yeah.
That's basically what they did in the 1950s and 60s. They're just repeating what they did.
Yeah, they're kind of repeating what they did back then, but they're also limited by how much is production wise. So when a case happens, I said 100,000, maybe it's only 75, but it is production wise since we have limited production of the flies. Because when it happened beforehand, we had other facilities that were producing the flies, so we had more available. But now it's based on, so they were dropping flies all along that border, but now they've had to move some of them because of the quarantine area, the restricted areas where it's found in Texas. They had to move a little bit there, but now that they're getting more production on it, they'll be able to up some of that. And it's also going to be depending, so back then, but also depending on cases. So they'll drop more flies as we go. Hopefully there's not, but if there's more of a heavy cases in one area. So these 45 cases weren't in 45 counties. So there's a heavy concentration in one area. They'll focus more on putting flies there and for how long they're putting the flies.
Is there something that the like the farmers can do if they see wounds on their animals to prevent the screwworm from being able to get into it?
So there is preventatives, but they're not long lasting. So it's not a shot, it's not a vaccine, it's not something that you can give that will last months. There is Dectamax. So that's for prevention and treatment, but it only lasts so, it's Dectomax or Dectomax CA1. That's for treatment and everything, but it only lasts so long. People use a lot of ivermectin, for prevention of it, but it's only so much, most of us use ivermectin deworming anyways. But it's only so effective on it. And there's also a lot of other things that go with that. So yeah, so there is a preventative, but you also don't want to be giving this preventative every week, 2 weeks, you know, we don't want any resistance on anything others because these medicines work on other parasites and everything. So, they're trying to work on something for like the deer, to feed them. Everything, but it's also, you gotta think about the other critters that can get into it also. So they were trying to work on more animal or wildlife related preventative. But so we have to watch the non-target species. And then of course, if they do get it, and so there's the treatment also. So there's treatments for dogs and cats too that they've done. NextGuard has made some of the chewable tablets if they do get it to help with, to kill those as they go. If you find it, then it's a matter of cleaning it and doing all this. There was a, I can't remember the name of it, but all I know is purple. And
Genshin violet.
there you go. That was back then. He's gonna get more like his experience with it and everything, but you know, I've talked to some of them and they remember the smell and everyone had purple hands because there was a spray that they used when they did find them. I mean, it was really neat. I don't know if he's gonna go say, I mean, horses got like accustomed and almost trained themselves to that smell. And they would find them in the fields, dogs would do the same. We don't really have that anymore. But hopefully it doesn't get that bad that we get to that. But we have a few other methods now on these treatments and preventatives. So.
This may be too personal a question,
Yeah.
but if they really only lay their eggs in live flesh, how do they produce hundreds of millions of sterile flies?
So that's so how they produce in the sterile flies is what you're asking. So there is a PDF on one of these websites that talks about that also. But what they're doing is they are making them and they are feeding them. They're not feeding them live flesh as they used to when they made them back in the 60s and everything. They would actually feed meat products to them, but they have now created a basically like not synthetic, like dried blood, egg, and a couple other products. There was a picture that they show us at Beef Health Short Course of all this that they mix up for food for them, so they don't actually have to use live flesh, but it mimics it, so they'll use all the nutrients that they need.
Makes me feel better.
Makes you feel better that they're not getting the live flesh. Yeah, they're not taking our food supply or anything. No, they've made an alternative food source for them that is more. Yeah, they've made an alternative food source and that's how they're growing them. They grow them in like these big vats. And then like stack them up, kind of like an incubator almost, and then trade them out when they need to. And then they roll them in that dye. It's like a big old tub that just rolls them, and then they package them in those boxes and send them in coolers and send them out. So. More questions?
Transport.
Huh?
What do they transport?
Where they transport them in?
Box?
A cooler, yeah. So they have to stay at a certain degree or they'll start hatching. So they transport them in the coolers. And then they're able to go drop them and then they hatch, or they're hatching and so flies aren't, they give a great example at the short course, you know, it's not like us, if we jump from an airplane, what happens? We just go splat. Flies don't do that. It's great, they'll start flying midair, they'll land, you know, they're not gonna all just go splat on the ground or anything, so. And they're working on some truck distribution and a few other types of things, not just the plane.
We jump from an airplane, we either do this or do this.
I mean, if I jump from an airplane, I'm hoping that I have, you know, a parachute with me, but.
I'm assuming that on these reported cases, most of that reporting was through livestock.
Yes, through livestock. Yeah, the reported cases is through
Deer,
livestock.
dogs, raccoons.
None of that.
They have not, yeah, there's not been a case found in wildlife.
Yeah, but my point is they're living animals. They could have screw arms, but they're not more of a controlled species. So you wouldn't even know.
I'm talking about that.
Which really increases the value of the fly.
Yes, so yeah, he'll talk a little more about that, but yes, it hasn't been found in wildlife, but there's a possibility that it is there, and like I said, it's just being able to find it, the monitoring of them. We have triple the amount of deer that we used to have in the sixties, so that's, and the hogs and everything else, so it is more difficult, and that does increase the fly, which is why they're still spreading the fly along the border as much as they can on all of this, and they're still trapping flies on the border to see how much is crossing over, not just and in the corner or the restricted areas, to try to help control that population also if it is in wildlife. But it is also any wildlife that is spotted that looks like it has a major wound or something, does need to be reported. Everything so that hopefully they can go out and find it or something, because, you know,
Yeah, to me, that'd be more difficult.
it is very difficult with the wildlife, yes. They did find some, there was a list of them they found in Mexico, but it was more happenstance than, you know, I mean, if you do have a facility, a high fence facility or anything, obviously it's the same way you treat cattle, watch them.
So back to the dogs. I imagine that they were probably like farm dogs, not your regular, you know, household pet that just goes in and out.
I believe, so the dogs, yes, I believe they were all farm dogs, because they're found in those cases where cattle were. And usually in that same time, so like a lot of these, the counties they were found in is less than the cases. So I think it was in 37 or 27 counties that it was found in. So typically it's the dogs that are on foot, but they don't release that of like, hey, it was this person's house dog versus their working dog. But from what I've talked to people, it's been more the working dogs, because they're out there with them, or they're dogs on that property. So, I mean, they may go inside or not, but I don't believe it was found on a residential home in the city, I guess, if that's what you're looking for. Yeah, it was found on in those areas of those farms, not in a residential type of place.
Residential after the fifties and sixties.
What was it?
Would,
Residential happened in the fifties and sixties also.
oh, yeah, no, residential did happen in the history of it. That's why, you still need to watch your dogs and cats, and that's where, if you have that, I put the pet one over there, you know, immediately contact your veterinarian too, if something, if you suspect something. More questions? Let me know if we're going over, because I think he's gonna answer some too, but I'm, it's like,
People are learning, that's what the. problem-
okay, I know way over the.
Okay. We apparently have been eliminated for a few decades in the United States.
Mhm.
And I assume it was always there in Mexico, and they have been there for centuries.
Yeah, so it's been around way before we eradicated. He's asking like, we eradicated it many centuries ago, but was it still in Mexico and around? Yes, so.
Not centuries, only decades.
Huh?
Decades.
Oh, sorry, decades. Yeah, we're getting on the news now. So yes, it was there, and they had a big problem with it. I mean, it even was in Florida, and there was a small case of the island that they found it in deer and everything. But I mean, it affected multiple states. It wasn't just Texas when it originally happened. It was many different states that had it. It's actually technically, I went off that one. It's actually technically, there was a case that's inactive now that's in New Mexico, that they did find it. So they pushed it all the way down to Panama. Forget the exact town where that line was, and they have basically held that line, you know, the exact.
Darien Gap.
Darien Cap, there we go.
Darien Gap.
Yeah,
It's part Panama, part Colombia.
there you go. Yes, they've held that line basically since then. We have speculation of why it moved, but we don't have a proof on it type of thing. So, and it could be a multiple factor with urbanization, different routes of movement, the increase.
They stopped putting out sterile plots
They didn't stop putting out sterile.
at the quantities they used to put them out. They did.
The quantities, yeah, they didn't stop putting out the flies, but we did close some of the facilities, so we didn't have the quantities anymore. They've been the only ones
Up to
supplying.
about a year ago, the distribution was like 100 to 150 million. Or it had been 500 million.
Yeah, well, so that one can only produce about 900. We needed, so they were producing when also 400 plus million a week. Back then we had multiple facilities. So yes, but it's not as many cases since they pushed it down. Yeah, they released less sterile flies because they pushed it all the way down there, was kind of keeping that area. But that and the other facilities closed, so we literally just don't have the production of the flies like we used to. But they've been able to hold it all these years, but you know, stuff happens.
I have one question. If the screwworm obviously is the maggots, the larva form, does the fly itself have its own name, or do they just call it the screwworm fly?
No, it's the new world. So asking the maggot is the screwworm and the fly is the cultivar. No, it's all the same thing, just like any other fly, its whole stage of it.
I mean, the fly didn't have its, like, you don't call it a so-and-so fly. It doesn't have its own name or its own,
New world screwworm fly.
that's it, okay.
Yeah, it's a new world screwworm. We just recognize the screwworm as the damage that it's causing. But that is, I mean, there's the official name that I can't pronounce on it, but no, there's no different name for the fly or the maggot or anything. It's
A lot of
one.
times the caterpillar is a different name than a.
Oh, this is just one.
Okay.
Oh, it's probably somewhere, but I couldn't pronounce it.
So Jessica, when you talk about, the process of making those flies sterile, I was reading, you know, I guess some people have been concerned about, are we releasing radiation out into the environment? But that's not what's happening, correct?
No, okay, so can I hear the, let me repeat all the questions, or are they hearing it?
I think the mic's.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna repeat just in case, but yeah, there has been comments of worry about the radiation on it, and the answer is no. They are not releasing anything like that. What they're doing is, when they do that and blast it, it's messing with their DNA and kind of killing that. And that's what's stopping them. So yeah, they're not actually releasing any radiation or anything like that into, into the fly population or anything. So yeah, it is safe, I promise. And they're not glowing green unless you put the light on them. It's just a power dye. So my mom actually called me with that. She's like, I heard they're bright neon green. I'm like, I know. So, I mean, if you guys have a black light outside and all of a sudden see these new, no, please don't. More questions? All right. And that was way longer, man. There's a lot of information. We can go for hours. Like I said, I'd be kept for like 3 hours on this. But I'll let you guys know, and I'll share it with John when it happens. I am working on having a seminar of just this, so I'll share it with him so that if anyone's come to have multiple speakers and stuff on it.
If you have more questions,
Yeah.
that's what Ag Life does. By the way, they are the definitive source on the screwworm fly, mostly because there's only one case outside of Texas. So there's not really any other place. When you look for the references, they're 90% of the references, not
Yeah.
Jessica, but the service.
Yeah, and out of all this stuff I showed you, the references, so it's found in New Mexico, but they're working with other places like California, because it lines and about like, they're working with all of them, but yeah, we are the leading people. I say Texas and Jones, the leading people in information. So if you guys have more questions, I know you guys got on me, but I will be in my office and stuff. You guys want to find out some publications galore, there's some over there, we can eat, anything like that, so.
What's your dog name?
This is Harvey. Harvey. Yeah. So, all right, thank you guys.
Jessica, thank you.
Oh, sorry, I clicked on a lot of different things there. but-
I shut it all down.
Okay.
Is there a,
Thank you.
It's right there, John.
oh, okay, we're on a slightly different time than we used to be on.
Hold up,
I'm
John.
kind of gloss through what this is, but I wanted to do screwworms, and we may not be able to get to undulates at all. What time would you like this to end in?
Probably get about 20 minutes or so.
I think you should do the angles. If you have more questions on the screwworm.
I want to know what this
Yeah.
list is, because I've been writing while I've been
Okay.
making things.
Well, let me do this. Let me make a couple of screwworm remarks. And then we'll do undulates. And then I'll be around to talk screwworms with people that want to talk.
Okay.
Okay, a screwworm question. How many people have actually handled a live screwworm? If you haven't been there in real life, it's not exactly the way the theory evolves. In a young calf, in a 2-day period, you could open a hole in the side of that calf, you can put your fist inside. The worms are a larva's about yay big. It grows very quickly. It's 5 to 6 days on living matter to turn into a pupa. Pupa, after anywhere between 10 and 50 days, turns back into a fly. So the window on reproduction is 2 to 9 weeks. They used to say 10 weeks was your window you had to watch your property on. The problem is, once the larva, or it's called a worm,
He's got his name.
once it turns into a pupa, the pupa drops on the ground and just stays there until it decides it wants to erupt as a fly. Think caterpillars on milkweed. Once it turns into that pupa or caterpillar, you just have to wait it out and it's on its own schedule. Used to be in the old days, one of the reasons they said there weren't more evolution of the flies is that the living matter is dependent upon temperature. So as you move north, you don't have as many of those. I don't know whether that's true or not, but we didn't hear that much about problems in Texas versus Oklahoma and Missouri.
That is true. They are temperature dependent.
The flies are about that big. Fly turns into being a serious problem in the first 48 hours. It eats live matter. So in a real human being, if something was inside your skin and eating on it, you'd probably know that. The problem with animals is they don't have any way to do about that. But how does a cow or a horse take care of a problem on its foreleg? They've got nothing to get through it. They can't bite it, they can't hoof it. So the problem is their animals can't take care of themselves. Old school, not preventive medicine, the solution was you kept the animals you had from dying because you couldn't prevent the occurrence other than the artificial fly program, which basically just overwhelming the grid. Vaccinations work, but you can't really vaccinate an entire herd with lots of animals over a long period of time and make any money on your cattle ranch. Because the goal of our cattle ranch was growing and selling cattle. It wasn't killing flies or monitoring equipment. So our ranch was about 160 acres. That's a fourth of a section or about a fourth of a square mile. Property's about 2.5 miles long. 3 water sources. The flies concentrate with the water sources. The other thing that happens is on your not domestic animals. I mean, I'm a deer guy. It's hard to watch your deer. It's really hard to watch your hurt deer. It's definitely difficult to deal with your injured fawns. And what they used to say the flies went after was not blood, but mucus. So if you hurt yourself and the scab starts to form on your skin, that's a mucus. The fly has to have something soft to put the egg in. Once the egg evolves in 7 to, let's say, in a day or less, 12 to 24 hours, it starts feeding on things. So you would check your animals twice a day. We only have 100 head of animals. They were contained on 160 acres, so we did supplemental feeding. It wasn't that hard to check all of them. If they didn't show up, you got on your horse and you went and found them. Now, we also had horses, but we used the horses. We were handling the horses all the time. Cattle in the field, cows didn't show up on time. I'll give you an advanced technique for herding your cattle together, is you feed them at the same time every day. And if you have goats, and we also have goats, you need a tin bucket with rocks. Rattle the bucket and they come. If they come, and one doesn't come, then you have a problem. If they come and you inspect there's a problem, the only solution in the old days was the following. We said in the 2-day period of calf, you can have a space where the larvae have to breathe oxygen. So there has to be an open hole. They have to be at the surface. The flies aren't leaving the eggs inside the animal. They're leaving them on the surface of the animal. And the fly is making its own, as it turns into a larva, is boring its own hole as it goes. I've opened pockets like that where you can scoop out 200 or 300 maggots. The treatment in the old days used to be like Gentian violet, which, by the way, is a very pretty dye if you want to color yourself purple. About the same as your blouse over there. I was wondering if that was part of that. And it is seriously permanent, way better than henna, if you wanted to break that. But we used to use it if you did animal marking, and we used to have a pin-driven item with a number in it. Dime, if you're somewhat like when your current traffic signals, you got your fixated, they can go, you put the gentian violet on the top, and make a deep impregnated dime as a gun. Anyways, things out of the old days. Any questions? So I'll move.
Just your screen.
You must have.
It's not advancing.
Minimize the Teams window?
Whether correct answers.
The Teams
It
window,
must
this one,
have no.
Here?
No, down.
this one.
Yeah, that
North
one.
American
Now, let me try it.
conjugates. That could be even or odd toed.
Did you freeze this?
One or
Nope.
two.
Now this is
three, or
working.
four.
Okay.
One that has three and the one that has four normally doesn't occur in North America.
Oh.
So you're dealing with critters with
Okay.
one or two toes.
I got you.
For background, you happen to be a cow, by the way, in the ungulate category.
Little right arrow.
By the way, cattle are not native North American ungulate. It's an import. That's another not correct answer. Horses. We had horses in North America up until 50 million years ago. Everything after that is attributed to the Spanish. Around the 1500s. In that same time frame, you get pigs because there was food on the ships. So there's three critters that aren't in that window of what we had. Cattle, pigs, and horses are not one of the 11 species that counts. If you have any of that on your list, you're already eliminated from the possible winner circle. How many people are still playing the ungulate game? Anybody else? Two?
Your clarification,
Yes, ma'am.
are you talking about species? Or are you talking about, if you say deer, we have multiple species of deer.
There are three choices in the deer category.
Okay, I got you.
And whitetail is one,
Right.
mule deer is two,
Del Carmen.
elk is three.
Oh,
Elk.
what about Del Carmen? The Del Carmen deer are,
Not far enough back.
you mean not far?
Well, from my searching of about 10 days to develop this quiz, it didn't show up.
But that is a different species.
Yes, it is. There's a number of imported
So
species that don't count
there's
either.
more than, really go with that. There's more than, what'd you say, 11 or 12?
There's 11 officially recognized. Okay, and officially is based on my extensive search of 10 days. The names that I've come up with, along with a sub-ungulate. Do you have the sub-ungulate on your list?
What?
A what?
Sub-ungulate.
I have no idea.
There's only one of them on the face of the earth. And it's a critter that has a hoof, but it doesn't walk on land. And to give this one away, it's the Florida manatee. By the way, if you have fingernails, technically you could have hoofs. If you're a cow, it's not part of the correct answers. A cow walks from these two toes, standing on the points. Same critter, except the horse only has one circular hoof. They're all made out of keratin, just like your fingernails, or the hair on your head. Just depends how hard it is and how it's distributed. The other ungulates are tougher to get into. Let's run through my fingers here for a second. Okay, white-tailed deer. Even-toed ungulates, odd-toed ungulates. Arguably, there's only one odd-toed ungulate. And it's not a North American critter. No. No. Horses. Oh, for two. It's one. Let's go further. Okay. Let's see.
Is it not working again? Oh, uh-oh.
There we go. Well, I guess am I moving forward?
Here, hold on. Nope. I'll just do it from here.
Critters in South Texas and the hill country. A very nice looking white-tailed buck, about 4.5 years old. And the margin there is the belly line. From the Spanish-speaking guys, he doesn't have a panzón or a belly. So he's got a tapered up belly line. Next slide, please. Okay. Possible ways that animals get injured. This is not a North American injured. It's a axis deer fight by coming at each other. Well, they stab each other. One of the methods of population control amongst axis deer is that the bucks kill each other. White-tailed bucks kill each other more by accident or by breaking a neck. Neck breaking happens usually because the 5.5-year buck is involved with the 2.5-year buck that's being stupid. And the bigger, stronger buck breaks the neck of the younger one. Back to screwworm, they develop quickly. Nobody finds the fawns of your white.
Not sharing this, maybe?
No.
Maybe until after they find a dry piece of hide. The problem is how do you find the wild animals to see whether it's a what?
And just go ahead and.
A screwworm. The answer is that's the whole method. You can't do it yourself. We talked gentian violet in the old days. So if I had a maggot pocket with 200 maggots in it, a larva actually.
Okay, it says share.
What you do is you put the gentian violet on the inside. It came with a big soft tip brush. You brush the surface area on the inside. With an antifungal antibacterial. Gentian violet still works, by the way. And what happened is it convinced the larva they didn't want to continue to feed on the material because they didn't like the smell of the taste of the gentian violet. So they would just pour out of the wound. If they weren't old enough to be a pupa and were still a larva, they died because they weren't old enough to go to the next gestation phase and the development of the insect. Interesting kind of method. Okay. Advanced photographic technique. This is the deer feeder. It's a gravity-fed feeder, holds 4,000 pounds of food at a time. Food costs 38 cents a pound. My biggest ranch of 20,000 acres has 8 of them. They spend $20,000 a month feeding their animals, about 8 months out of the year. And bucks don't feed once their horns get hard. They chase tail. It's a boy thing, right? Okay. And your pictures, to make it easier, do the number 3.
Yeah.
Paint that inside your viewing package. Position your cameras always facing south. So you have to position your camera, then you put the feeder in place. Then you identify the feeder with a number because you'll see other numbers showing up in some of the other pictures. So you can sort through them relatively quickly, like where your critters at. Next picture. Bunches, all the same age group. That's the oldest buck in the group.
Which one? The one on the right?
One on the far right hand side. Next one, please. That's this different buck the previous season, but one of the other ones in the group. One of the things in my following program is how do bucks mature over time frame. Means you have to be able to follow the animal over time period. All of our cameras are live. We probably get anywhere from 80 to 150 pictures a day off of the 8 cameras, which includes coons and possums and porcupines and all kinds of other stuff. Next picture. There you go.
There we go.
There's another 3. A white-tailed deer and a coon population. Coons fight each other. It's hard to find coons. When they get injured, whatever the case happens to be, they basically go hide someplace and die. Are they a method of progressing in the lifestyle of the screwworm larva? Absolutely. What happens though is that once it's died, the larva won't continue to feed because it's not living material. So if the host dies quickly enough, it's not a long-term source for the development of the fly. So If your calf was infected, that's one thing, but it's not likely to continue the species. Better package was full-grown steer was there. I've seen pockets the size of a softball inside of a still living animal. Question is, how long did it take the larva to get that size? The vet said if it was a small larva infestation, he had maybe 50 worms making the cavity because they keep eating and they need an oxygen source. So as the hole gets bigger on the outside, that increases the other infection. If the critter dies too soon, the larva doesn't develop into a pupil and it ends the development of the species. That's why one of the reasons flies are a bigger problem. I don't think we had anything to do with making that happen. They were more concerned in the old days, and so was ranchers, on watching the development of the larger animals for infestation than the littler animals. Because the littler animals were harder to monitor. They had a smaller chance of being part of the flies in evolution. And there wasn't really any animal that first stepped in and helped you with larva infestations. You want to keep your ranch working, you kill them, you buy gentian flour in gallon bottles and 4-packs. Next one, please.
Oops.
The young axis buck, and what's unusual is you notice he has more than 6 points. He actually has technically 8. That's one odd point. And here's another one. It's very unusual for the animal, partially driven to the fact that the protein feeders are better. So he's getting more nutrients and proteins to develop the antlers. Because you need magnesium, calcium to make antlers. Next slide, please. Same buck, a little further developed, you can see the 2 extra points at the base. Whether that's better or not as far as fighting, theoretically, it keeps that buck better protected because he has more things to keep the other axis bucks points away from him. No, haven't seen him fight. Next one, please. Different time periods, dates. You see him in the morning, in the afternoon. You can see the development, further development of the antlers. That's the most prominent one. There's another one just down here at the base. It's not very visible there, but it's got 8 points. Next one, please. Elk. 4 shots, same elk. How you can develop lots of pictures. Whether you want that many or not, once you turn the camera on, you're kind of stuck once you put it on a setting. So we take pictures every 2 minutes. The reason is when animals come into an automatic camera, you don't know which one comes in first. So if the spike buck comes in first, you have your camera set on 5 minutes. And a herd of white bison come in after that, and they're gone before 5 minutes goes by. You'll get the next picture. Batteries run $2 a piece. Batteries are good for 2 weeks. Takes 12 batteries of camera.
So they're not motion activated then?
Well, they're motion activated. You can push a button on your camera and they can take a live picture for you. So if I wanted to know the sitting camera place number 4, you can push the button. Otherwise, we use that to hunt hogs at night. We dump it into us. So it's good to know where you're at or where you're not at. Next one, please. Number 4, so we know what feeder we're looking at. Keep going. Maybe probably about 3 hours old. When we saw female earlier, we saw her later with the still wet baby. Picture didn't really show the wetness that well, but he still kind of gleamed in the early morning light. Next one, please. Hogs. Lots of hogs. In the ungulate world, we're dropping back to the other program. It is an ungulate. It's a 2-toed ungulate. It is not a North American ungulate. It's a Spanish import on the ships to feed the crews that came with the Spanish ships. Hogs fight. Hogs rip with their tusks from the side. Hogs always win versus deer. Because hogs are short, deer are tall. The hog starts underneath in the first place. so the deer stay away from the hogs, but it creates more injuries. Next one, please. Okay. Male, young female, sow. If you want to control your hog population, which is a good idea because it's an invasive species, which makes it master naturalist positive, kill the sow. If you kill the male, it prevents future breeding. If you kill the sow, it does the same thing, plus the shoats that she's carrying with her and the young ones that aren't quite smart yet, lose the knowledge. Because when the sow group and pigs group together, males always separate out, except for breeding time. So any education that comes to the little pigs, or protection to keep them from being eaten by coyotes, comes from the bigger pigs of the group. Okay, next one, please. Elk, small bore, older sow. They don't bother each other. The feeders are automatic gravity feed. So we feed 24/7. They eat as much as they want to eat. They eat a lot. In the middle of the spring, this is on a 800-acre ranch. 12 feeders, 4,000 pounds apiece. They're emptying a feeder every 3 weeks. Want to grow big animals? It's his hobby. He gets to go take pictures and shoot things. Next one, please. Coons. Coons are hard to track. They're hard to capture. Think about how you monitor that mammal, whether or not it has an infection from the screwworm fly. The advantage is, if there is an advantage, they're not that big. So if the fly lays lots of larvae eggs that turn into larvae, it's more likely they're going to kill the coon before they can grow out to maturity to become a pupa. That's why you put feeds out for your favorite butterfly. Now, there needs to be enough food there to take that critter from this stage to the next stage. Next one, please. Okay. Mammal. Let's use the term reptile for discussion purposes. One's a source for screwworms development, the other one's not. Screwworms don't eat fish. They do eat birds. Birds tend to be pretty good at that, including turkeys, because they're always picking on each other and they're always biting off lice and flies. If anything, they're attracted by larvae. Wheat scarf loves scoop the larva out of an animal, maybe 150 to 200, feed into the chickens. Chickens go absolutely crazy. Next picture, please. Okay. Cattle, horses. An even-toed ungulate, an odd-toed ungulate. Next picture. I'll generally let you read these unless I'm going to make some odd particular remark. Fingernails. Keratin. How tough it gets to be. Horses that wear shoes have to have their hoofs trimmed. Cows that walk without shoes don't, because they get enough wear and tear on the ground generally. If you keep your cows in a barn where they don't work on rough surfaces, cows' hoofs overgrow and they actually have to be trimmed just like a horse would. Next one. That's those. Hoofs, if they develop the right way. Generally, a hoof term only applies to an ungulate if they're standing and walking on it. If it's on the side, like a cow has 5 and has a hand, you're seeing the ring and middle finger for the cow. These are the dew claws, and the thumb is basically hidden inside the skin. There's a 3-toed ungulate. There's a 4-toed ungulate. 4-toed ungulate is a paper. 3-toed is a rhino. But they're ungulates. They don't count against your list. So if you have rhino down on your list of 11, it doesn't work because it's not North American. Technically, tapirs don't either because they're South American. How many people are still in the game? How many people have muskox?
Oh,
That's a
that
successful
was it.
answer.
Darn it.
Really? How about caribou?
Yes,
Good, you're still in the game.
okay.
Let's go a little further.
Uh,
Some people like to read things. I'll read it.
I need to get,
Keep going.
Yep.
Hoofs. Most complicated foot on an ungulate is on a horse. That's because it has less exterior pads to work with. That's the summation of lots of research. Next one, please.
okay.
Deer and elk. Okay. And what's the specialty of the animal that has that? Deer hide or run in a straight line, generally. Broader-toed, including those that have space between their toes, like elk and cattle, use their toes for stability, turning, and weight support. So generally, two-toed ungulates, except for deer, are wander around in circles, be on cliffs like elk might be. Elk run, they don't run in a straight line because they're running on a slope usually. You see elk on flat ground, elk is really a mountain critter. Muskox is another one of your North American. Okay, next slide, please. That's the example that digital skin provides more grip. Caribou, frozen ground, tundra, soft mushy stuff, have that skin web between their toes. Next one, please. Okay, run through screwworms in a herd. You saw that slide already. They're a pretty eyeball. We never saw that many flies. We saw lots of larvae. You didn't see that many flies. Next one.
Is it like the size of a horsefly?
No,
No?
but housefly.
Okay.
But what's interesting is they have that metallic sheen on the main part of the body. They actually have three vertical, that would be the length of a fly, lateral stripes, and the orange eyes. We saw them in traps, never really saw them in a live circumstance. We found the flies be more active at night, which was a problem in the ranches in the old days because you didn't have electricity. So half of the day you couldn't check your animals. So you checked them in the morning to see what went wrong for the night. And they checked them in the evening before you put them to bed. That's how you raise cattle and make money, or try to. Next one. Next one. Okay. 2 to 10 weeks to go through that cycle. To go from the fly to the development of the eggs, think a day. Feeding window on the screwworm larva, 5 to 7 days. The pupa stage, anywhere from 9 to 50 days, based on who knows what. So to try to eradicate that development of that species, you have to have the sterile fly that are available all the way along the way for whenever that emergence happens. So if you stop making sterile flies in week 6 and all the pupa develop in week 7 and 8, you haven't done anything.
Do the pupa fall out of the wound or do they
Yes.
stay? Okay.
Or in that case, the critters died and the pupa wiggles
It's there.
itself out and becomes a pupa on the ground. That's kind of a fuzzy area as to are you inside or are you outside? Maggots are about, the larva's about that long. There you go. 200 to 400 eggs in a wound. The same fly might be able to lay eggs in 25, 30, 40 spots. Why so few? I think from what my experience was, they develop so quickly. If you put 1,000 in or 2,000 or 5,000 in the same wound, critter would live long enough for the eggs to be able to live long enough to turn to a pupa, to turn into a larva, to turn into a fly again. I don't know how they know that. Maybe it's something that's just intuitive. Next one, please. There you go. It'd probably be pretty good fishing bait, but you could catch crappie with it. Oh, wait, they don't hurt you. If you put them on your hand, they don't do anything.
How long are they?
And they start off like, they start off about, well, the eggs are about a millimeter. Well, somewhere between 1 and 17 takes it from the egg to a full-grown larva and wants to be a pupa. That means it's eating as much as it needs to eat. Whatever it is. Never found many pupas.
Talked about that stuff.
You keep on.
Yep.
That's the head count of the different places to do that. She's got a nice handout from AgriLife that deals with that. If you want more detail from that, just put in AgriLife, New World screwworm, and all kinds of stuff that populates on your system. Go for the place. Briefly, chronic wasting disease. It is a prion, P-R-I-O-N disease. It is always fatal, and it is a defective, populated, folded protein. You can't really kill it. You can make it go away, but they're not really sure how to do that. It is a cumulative disorder, and it affects primarily white-tailed deer. It has something to do with the way it chooses to accumulate in the brain, because it is an interbrain disorder. We've got no way to treat that. We don't have the tools and the technology yet to either detect it or to do something about it. Usually, when you discover that an animal has having chronic wasting disease, is that it's been the last 24 hours before it dies. Another way to get prions is you can eat contaminated flesh from previous critters that had prion disease. Which ungulates are omnivores? Or two. One's North American, one's not, and there's only 2 in the total package. Feral hogs. What do you think the other one is?
4.
No? Hippos. Hippopotamus is an omnivore. Woo-hoo. Next slide, please. Chronic wasting disease goes back to 67 in a captive deer population. That gives you a private ranch. They're kind of discreet on letting you know really where that was. It probably would get in the way of resale of the property. First things in Texas were in 2012. Big things local land managers, though, a general approach for the state of Texas is you kill the herd. So a detected case on my buddy's ranch that's feeding that number of animals, which is under 100. A detected case, the state of Texas would come in and kill all of them. Whether that's the right answer or not is another story. Theoretically, a human being can eat a prion from an infected animal and get chronic wasting disease. At least they don't have any documented evidence that that can happen. So don't eat your defective animals when they die. And they die in a hurry. They actually die from dehydration. Next. No cure, no vaccinations, no really good method of detection other than the final stage before the animal dies. I don't know what you do with that information other than look around and see if something happens. One of my other ranches actually had an elk die, chronic wasting disease. The good news is they had brought in 3 animals. Cow died, 2 bulls didn't. They reported the 3 animals, and the state said, "What's the other 2?" It was a $22,000 purchase to buy 3 of them and move them. And when you buy them live, delivered 48 hours after they arrive. So if they break them on the trailer, you don't pay for it. That's a risk on the seller side. Therefore, the sellers charge more money because you can guess that something might be wrong. It's like buying canceled trip insurance on a cruise ship. It's not supposed to happen, but you gotta pay for it if you want it. Makes sense.
How wide you go to see it in Texas?
Depends who you talk to. If you talk to the state of Texas, there ought to be 10,000 people out there checking on it. If you talk to ranchers and landowners, it's much ado about nothing. Particularly the one where you can't do anything about it. You can't tell it's gonna happen. When it happens, it's gonna happen. It can happen to anything in the herd. It generally happens to older critters in the herd. I think that's because you have to collect so many prions. So like, young calf doesn't have enough time to do that. And you're not born with them. You accumulate them. Almost like nervous. You want to think of it that way. You know, how many do you accumulate? How many do you have? We all have something. Everybody does something with plastic as being alive. We're still talking, so apparently we don't have too many yet. That's the best parallel I can see of things can happen. And there's all the sources.
Those, is this the last year?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Now, let's work on our undulate test.
Quickly, yeah, quickly.
Okay, he's still in the game. Okay. If you don't have these answers,
Okay,
you're out of the game.
okay,
Do you have tall sheep?
yes,
You have bighorn sheep.
yes.
You have the 3 deer,
White
white
tail.
mule deer and elk.
Yep.
Okay. You have the 2 goats, bighorn, actually 2 sheep, 1 goat.
Mountain
Bighorn.
goat,
Mountain goat.
yep.
See, hang on just a second. Any moving parts down.
Moose,
Moose is another one.
moose.
Bison,
Oh.
caribou, pronghorn antelope.
Yes.
I had
You have-
antelope.
Do you have, no, it's gotta be a pronghorn. Because we have other antelope, but they're not North
Right.
American.
Got caribou.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll run you down the whole list. Who's still in the game? Anybody? Okay, the list is 3 deer, whitetail, mule and elk, 2 sheep, doll and bighorn, moose, bison, muskox, caribou, mountain goats, all of which are northern, colder related critters. Pronghorn antelopes are basically a New Mexico critter. There's stuff in Texas. It's the only antelope like itself. There's not another antelope like our pronghorn antelope. And sub-antigot in Florida is the manatee. It is a 5-toed ungulate that doesn't walk on its toes.
How about a javelin?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope,
All right, I had 1, 2,
not officially on the
4,
list.
5, 6, 7. I had 8.
Eight's honorable mention. Mickey, what you have?
What's that?
How many did you have?
1, 2, 4, 5, 6. What about
I got 11.
birds or donkeys?
You got them all in.
What list are you getting at? I
right.
object.
Whenever you pick a source, you just march your way through it. This is an official.
Alright, so what else do I do? Facts. So we just completed our 3rd year of bat monitoring, acoustic bat monitoring. So I thought I'd give you a quick update. Yeah, I was working.
It's not working?
It
It was just working, I swear.
Here, what's it on?
Oh, was it? All right, then.
All right, just, those of you that haven't heard this spiel before, we're part of a group, a Texas group that's doing acoustic monitoring of bats. And that is part of a North American group called North American Bat. And all of our data will eventually roll up into North American Bat. We work with the agency for Texas is Texas Parks and Wildlife, Texas Nature Trackers. And our goals are to use a standard protocol. Everybody that's doing this is using the same protocol. And we're using this to assess the population across the state of Texas to see what bats we have. Believe it or not, there was not a lot of data or good data and current data on the number of bats that we have in Texas. And so we're reporting on the status and the trends of these bat populations. And this in turn will give those that manage bat populations and policymakers and good data in order to manage these populations for the long term. So our protocol is we deploy these acoustic monitors on a Monday. And they begin recording a half an hour before sunset and continue until a half an hour after the sunrise. Excuse me, I've got a little frog here. We survey for 4 nights, Monday through Thursday nights. And then the monitors are retrieved on Friday. We check and replace the batteries. By the way, I have batteries, used batteries, but they're still good enough to use for your flashlights over there if you want to take them home. We're real careful. We change the batteries every time we deploy, just because we don't want the batteries to run out during the week and we lose data. So we have all these batteries left over that you're welcome to take. They're over on the table over there. But we replace the batteries, we replace the SD cards, and then those of us that are part of the team, who you'll get to meet in a minute, will verify the programming, and then we take it to the next site that will do the monitoring for the next week. Fortunately, this year we were able to deploy 3 monitors and maybe even 4 in some cases. Because U.S. Fish and Wildlife gave me an SD4 monitor to use, and we didn't have before. So we were able to deploy on a weekly basis 3 or 4 monitors. We did 25 sites. Each was monitored 1 time. And this year we had a requirement, I would say requirement, to use a new protocol, which required that we monitor in 1 grid, and that's, I'll show you what those are, monitor 2 places 5 kilometers apart. That was brand new, came up at the last minute, so we weren't able to do all of that. And I thought that was hilarious. No, you don't think that's funny? Okay, so each one of these colored squares is a grid. This is the. Great stuff.
You can't have nice things.
Here. Okay. Is it on?
Should be.
Okay, so each one of those squares is a 10-kilometer square, and it's called a grid. And I've got a big long name, and it has to do with statistical analysis. So all across North America, there's this grid that's been placed. So these are our grids in Colby County. And each one of the purple dots is where we have a monitor. And everything that's circled in like that green, that is a duplex, meaning that we have 2 monitors in the same grid, at least 5 kilometers apart. This is part of the new analysis. So, as you can see, we were able to do that this year, but we couldn't get all of our sampling points in those duplexes. So we did 14 private homes. We did 2 Texas Nature Conservancy sites, which are also considered private, but they're Nash Prairie and Brazos Woods. Thank you, Susan. She did those. We had 8 U.S. Fish and Wildlife sites. This is brand new for this year. And we had 1 Texas Parks and Wildlife site, which is the Justin Hurst Wildlife Management Area. So we had, and we were able to do some of the duplexes. And next year, I'm sure we're going to be required to do all duplexes. So I will be looking for places to put 2 monitors in the same grid. So you may get a phone call from me saying, would you allow us to do this? Between now and next spring when we start sampling again. So we'll be looking for some additional sites. Give me a t-shirt, yeah. Sure. I think we bought these, right? Yeah, we bought these. All right, so this is what the monitors look like. We have to update the GPS coordinates for each site before we deploy. And we deploy them on T-post, many of them driven by my husband. And then he's set up a way to easily hang on the T-post. And then you plug in the microphone, and the microphone's about 10 feet in the air. And that's what it looks like. And so this is the results of this year of what we got. We run all this data through a program called Kaleidoscope Pro. And then it goes through another program to help do some statistical analysis, additional statistical analysis. So all I'm reporting for you here is the bats that were identified as highly likely to be there or likely to be there based on some statistics. I'm not going to get into all of that. So I want you to look at some of this. So the common year-round bats that we had here is the American Paramyotis, a tricolored bat. We had 20 sites of the 25 that had this bat. This is a bat that is being considered to be put on the endangered list. Did you have that last year? Yes. Yes.
Was it
20 sites last year?
No.
We have different, we have some different monitors. We have better monitors now. The SM4s are much better. We had Brazilian freetail, which you guys call Mexican freetail, but it's really called Brazilian freetail. 13 sites. We had 1 site, the big brown bat, that came up this year as high as likely. That is really unusual. That was at Justin Hurst Wildlife Management Area. Eastern red, this is 11 sites, and of course we don't have any wind yet. We don't have any wind turbines here, but they have a high mortality rate in the areas that we have wind turbines in Texas. Several bats, 22 sites. This is considered a vulnerable species, and then the evening bat, 22 sites. So we've got a lot of bats. Some common migratory bats, the hoary bat, we had 12 sites. This is also considered a vulnerable bat. Uncommon year-round bats, we had northern yellow and southern yellow. Look at the number of sites. These are rare. At least historically they're rare, but now we're finding out, at least in Missouri, they're not that rare. And then we had in the uncommon migratory bats, silver-haired. We had 18 sites that had silver-haired. It's not a vulnerable species, but we do see very high mortality rates in that species.
Mickey, does uncommon year-round just mean they don't migrate?
Year-round means they don't migrate. Uncommon means that they're not, at least historically, not found very much in Texas.
Okay.
But in Brazoria County, we're picking them up.
That's exciting.
It's exciting. It is very exciting. We did have one hallucination. Now, that's what we call something that is not, it's not foreign. It's something that when the data shows up something that is, no, you're not gonna find it here in Brazoria County. If we do, boy, that would be really exciting. So, we came up in two possible locations and two questionable locations, southwestern myotis. Now, you're not gonna find that bat here. It is a Arizona, New Mexico bat. It's really like ponderosa pine forest. So now we have oak woodlands, but mesquite, chaparral, and pinon juniper scrub along rocky cliffs. So the only way we'd know if this was actually true is we'd have to net the bats and see. And I'm working on somebody to come down from North Texas to do some bat netting. And if they come down, we will go to these sites and see if we can find it. I doubt it, but that's called a hallucination. So this is a 5-year citizen science project. Really has given us a lot of insight into the bat distribution across Texas. It's really filling in a lot of data gaps that we've had in the bat population. And one of the greatest benefits besides all that is it's giving a bunch of you guys an opportunity to do a real life science-based study. And we've had an opportunity to do some others, but this has really been a good using good scientific method and good experience at doing a scientific effort over several years. And North American bats realize that the only way that they can get these kind of data is to use volunteer citizen science. So Larry's not here, but I want to thank him. Larry Peterson has been the data analyst extraordinaire. He does all of the Kaleidoscope Pro work, and then he's, bless his heart, he's had to sit through several analyst training sessions. I've sat through them too. They're boring. He's an expert in Kaleidoscope Pro, and he had to learn an additional new program kind of at the last minute this year. And he produced the landowner reports, and all my landowners should have gotten the reports. They've been sent out. He also produced the summary report. He and I worked together. There were some errors on that, but we gave some feedback to the programmer on that. And it really saved me 70 hours of manual vetting of data files, which I did last year. So I was really grateful for that. And it saved me from my carpal tunnel syndrome and some temporary insanity that I had last year. So he is my superhero. I wish he is off. One of his grandkids is graduating from some military academy or something. So he's off, but I have a little gift for him. Y'all all be jealous. Oh, look, recognize him maybe the next time he shows up. Yes.
The ones that say they're vulnerable to the wind turbines, do they fly higher than the other bats? Is that why they're susceptible?
Don't know. I don't know that answer. I don't think that they know, but it does have to do, with their echolocation. You think that they would, so there's something that's interfering.
Yeah.
Can you get an ideal population?
No, not from acoustic, monitoring. You really have to be around with, you can make some guesses, but it's not scientifically valid. You know, you might get, like, Orrin is the king of hits. He had almost 6,000 hits in the 4 nights on his property. Now, I don't know, some of those could have been insects, but, you could say, well, hey, you know, he had a lot of these bats. But it's not scientifically valid to use acoustic monitoring for that. So,
Vicki,
yes,
do we know what the range of acoustic monitors?
it's probably about 60 feet.
Okay.
Depending on where you're located, if you have interference around it, but about 60 feet. So it's pretty good. All right, this is my Batty team, and I want to recognize all of these folks have been, all the ones that are in gray or whatever that is have been involved since the very beginning. And Kim Calhoun and Bill Huxford at the last minute, I called them up and said, hey, would you guys be willing to put a monitor? You know, you would be in a duplex grid. And they said yes, so we got to deploy with them. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service worked with Curtis Jones and Jennifer Wilson to deploy in 8 sites. They got some really good data for their sites. And then worked with Trey McClinton at the Wildlife Management Area, Justin Hirsch, and added them this year. So this is my Batty team. And there's another person that I'd like to thank. That's Doug Timmermeyer. You guys have never heard of him. He is a creative director and designer. He's a graphic artist and an artistic director in Houston. He went to Texas Tech. I won't hold that against him. And he leads a lot of design teams and corporate branding. And he is my son-in-law. And he worked with me to design a special thank you for the Batty team. And this year, so Batty team, come up here, give me your hand. Hands for everybody. There, Orrin, we're gonna take a picture.
What the big payout would be. Thanks, ma'am.
It's not here. And Susan.
And everybody's got one.
And Donna.
Oh, you know, you will.
She's not here. Angela. Hey, Bill. Bill, you get 2 pins, because we have a pin from the.
I don't think he's got any room on his head.
That's why we sent you the presentation. Oh.
Now I know.
Yes, Luce, and Janet, and Robin, where are you?
That was a great time.
And Margaret right here. Did I get everybody? Yeah.
We get a picture in front of your,
Thank you, Ray. Where you running?
Up in the back.
Huh?
Where you running?
This is not-
Let's get y'all in front of the slide here.
I would put the taller ones on back.
All day.
We need to move over. You can push the podium back after. Yeah. Everybody in that way.
And nobody's gonna put me on there, right?
Y'all looking more that way.
That's all space.
I think I do have everybody at the same. Look at me and wait, John, you, that, no. Deanna, is that way just a smith, but then we don't, okay?
Say, Betty.
Say,
I wonder why she wouldn't give me that line.
Nice job, now. They weren't even working on that. Fuzzy man.
I apologize for bombing everyone's email inboxes yesterday. We have a lot of activity going on for our 25th anniversary. And, we're setting up registration I just set up registration for a lot of events. The first event coming up is at the County Commissioners Court proclamation on September 8th, which is a Tuesday at 9 a.m. at the Brazoria County Courthouse. On the second floor, you do not have to register for that, but we do want everyone to please show up, wear your shirts. We'd like to have a great showing. Kathy is going to also give some information about the chapter and our impact to the community over our 25-year history. And we're also going to present each of the county commissioners with their own t-shirts. After that, on October 14th, that is our fall field day. And this year we're going to be out at Brazos Bend. It is in lieu of our October chapter meeting. So it's a morning out at Brazos Bend State Park. You do have to register for that because we will be providing lunch for everyone. And this year we're doing a hike and seek scavenger hunt. So you'll have to sign a little riddle, together a 4-person team, figure out a riddle that will lead you to something and then get a picture of it. So for instance, if the riddle answer is Yopon, you can need to find Yopon somewhere on the train for your team. And there will be 25 items, go figure. So registration just went out for that yesterday. I saw we already have a bunch of people registered. November 14th is going to be our big event. It's a 25th anniversary luncheon. It will be out at the Dude Wayne Event Center, which is where we had our AT Day this year. So the Brazoria County Parks Department. That is on a Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. We are very honored to have Mary Pearl Moy coming. She is the assistant coordinator for the entire state Texas Master Naturalist Program. She'll be our keynote speaker. And we will also be honoring all of our charter members, which we still have 7 that are here that were in our original class 25 years ago. Let's see. And then on December 11th, we are hosting a whooping crane and coastal birding boat tour out of Rockport. That is a Friday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. There is a cost for that because it's a private charter. $80 a person, but it's normally $125 a person. So great deal. And I'd like to ask Phil to come up and talk about that. He's kind of our coordinator for that. You do have to register. It's limited to 30 people. Yes, we're going to also put a special page on the website that's just related to anniversary events. And before I give this to Phil, sorry. We also will be having a lot of other things coming up like butterfly walks. We're going to have a nature art day with photography, journey sticks, plein air art out at Brazos Woods. We're planning a mothing event, all kinds of really cool things. So we're trying to offer some during the week and some on the weekends, some in the evening, some during the day. We're going to have the Nashberry Walk and Talk with Susan Conti. And then Kristen Niger will also be doing a native plant propagation demonstration out at DCBO. So we have a lot of really cool things planned. Here is Phil.
Thank you. We're planning the hoop and crane. Christine covered most of it. It's December 11th. It is a Friday at 9 a.m. If people do want to spend the night, we're recommending that you make those arrangements on your own. There is one hotel across the street that is the Inn at Fulton Harbor. You can get in touch with them at duckduckgo.com. You need to be getting me the money. If you're going to pay me in a check, I will probably cash the check right away. I'm not holding your check for 3.5, 4 months. If there's something that comes up, I will get that cash or write you a check. Turn that if that comes about. Right now, we just have a few people signed up. If people don't know much about Rockport, it's Rockport Fulton area. If you want to look up directions, I found it very difficult to find directions to Captain Tommy's boat. Boat name is the Skimmer. And, he's located behind Charlotte Plummer's Restaurant. Charlotte Plummer's Restaurant address is 202 North Fulton Beach Road. So if anybody needs that information, I've got it. Get me the money. Tommy, I've been doing, going on these tours for over 30 years now. I didn't start going on the Skimmer, but a few years ago, in fact, it was 2002, during COVID, that we had him booked to come talk to us at the migration celebration. And of course, that year we didn't make. So that year, Tommy had given us probably 50 to 60 of these books that we distributed to all the schools that year. And since then, we've distributed and given them away at different events. So we've really tried to promote Tommy. He's always taken care of us. And the question was, do we want to do it in December or do we want to do it in February? Well, February is peak. And Tommy recommended that we did it in December for two reasons. In December, what you have with the whooping cranes is the males are territorial, so you might see more territorial action going on that you wouldn't see in February. The other thing is the young birds. They have more color, and brown being young in December versus in February. So those are two of the, I think, the most obvious things that we will get an opportunity to see. I know I've never been out and was able to observe them in December, so it'd be exciting for me. The February tour would have cost twice as much. Okay, the average starts at 125. So he's given us a pretty good deal. I'm looking forward to it. We can take 30. We can take a couple of less or a couple of more, but we're trying to get 30 to make the trip. We will need to know by probably the 15th of November how many people we've got, and we should be able to make that work. In the meantime, I'm going to be promoting it. I'm going to be trying to get the list built, so I'll be pursuing it. If anybody has any questions, come see me. I've left a couple of his flyers and 2 copies of these books if you want to check them out before we leave today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you. And I want to say thanks to the committee that's been brainstorming all these different things. So it's a lot of work. So I'm gonna go back. Just talking about orientation. Intern training is going to start with orientation on September 16th here. Every Wednesday, Barbara. When?
Yeah,
Mid-November.
graduations will be December 9th at our.
Okay, so we'll have something here at the December meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. And please tell your friends, or even just people you meet. Like, I've met people like up at Dolores Fenwick or down at Brazoria Wildlife Refuge, and they're like, what are you doing? What are you know? So I make sure I tell them, hey, go check out our website. So, it's dependent on all of us, not just Barbara and John, to get new members, okay? It's a group effort. All right, since we're so late, I'm just gonna keep going here, okay? And I think I saw Amanda.
You can skip through, it's okay.
Okay, all right. I'm not gonna skip through it, but, so our July financials, beginning balance 10,420. I believe some t-shirt revenue mainly, expenses 323, ending balance 10,312. These will also be posted as part of the minutes. I kind of just did I'm only showing the last few months because it gets too hard to see all 12 columns, okay? Anybody has a question on anything? Okay, expenses. We did send in the sponsorship for the state. Oh, wait a minute, that was in June. Sorry, wrong column. Okay. If you, we have t-shirts, Patty's here. If you still need to pay for your t-shirts, do that today. And there were no intern expenses yet. Okay, Ruby's not here. To my knowledge, we don't have anything going on this month per se, big outreach things. If there are, I think she's contacting people individually because they're small. But next month, we've got the Hummingbird Extravaganza out at GCBO. It's going to be the 12th and the 19th, so the middle two Saturdays this year. Setup is going to be on the Friday before, so on September 11th. If you can help out, contact Celeste or contact Oren, because I know he's real involved with that. KVR Kids Day is going to be on Sunday, October 18th. That's a big thing up in town. We get asked to do that every year. It's also the same day as Sea Center's Halloween Spooktacular, which they're going to do something a little bit different this year. They're not going to have like the big carnival type thing. They want to focus on scary plants, animals theme, and there'll be more to come on that. Did the Master Gardeners ever get back with you guys? Do you know? Okay, I'll work on that one for you. And I want to say thanks to everybody that made those library programs this summer. I mean, we had, I think, almost 2,400 kids come through. So I know that was a lot of work. But I've had people in my neighborhood contact me and tell me how much their kids enjoyed it, how much they enjoyed it. So yeah, thank you. Are we doing Jimmy, are we doing the beach sweep on September 1st?
Tuesday, September the 8th.
Okay, all right, so wrong date up here, September 8th. Okay. September 8th. Oh, that'll be the day after Labor Day. That's why, okay.
Proclamation Day.
Oh, no, that's right.
Oh, can't do that. That's our proclamation. That's where we're gonna be at the courthouse.
I'll get back.
Okay, can't do it that day. No, we're not doing it that day. Unless you want to do it afterwards. The Splash Beach cleanup is gonna be the 29th. I'm gonna be up at Dolores Fenwick every Thursday. Camp Mohawk and Resoft, we have stuff going on there. As soon as we get with Mary, we'll know about the new stuff at Resoft.
Yeah,
Do you want to talk about it or?
I just wanted to back up on that Quintana Beach cleanup splash.
Okay.
If people are interested, they are requesting that people register. So
Okay.
that link is on the calendar.
Okay, so for those of you online, the Splash Beach cleanup, go to the calendar for the 29th and there will be a link to register for that.
And it opens up Houston Zoo, but that is the right place to register.
Okay, when it opens up, it's gonna say Houston Zoo.
Go figure.
Don't panic. Okay. Anything else here?
No, I guess those at Freeport GCBO, we finally, pretty much got our construction finished on the steps. The deck and the ramp, pretty much rebuilt from the ground up, got a punch list working on, but, all the barricade tapes down and should be able to get in and out without injuring yourself.
I walked on it, it's safe.
It looks good.
It looks good. All right. Okay, so next Wednesday, okay, I did put the right slide in now. Thank you, Donna, for catching that. So Water Wednesdays, next next Wednesday, the 19th. The topic is going to be land subsidence. So this is a program that John O'Connell's been doing, his committee that helps him come up with ideas. It's been some really interesting topics, so if you can, if you're interested, please, please join in on that. It's online. John sends out the information. You can do the QR code too. Okay, Dick is not here, but we're still doing the Bracken Cave and Bamberger Ranch trip. I think we're at 28 or 29 people. This is gonna be in October, 5th and 6th. And it's actually in the area, so Bamberger Ranch is in the area of John Bettinger's ranch. So I'm really interested to see this area. I've only been there maybe once, so. Okay, that map. It's Bracken Caves down between Bull Verde and New Braunfels, and Bamberger Ranch is up above Blanco. Is that right this time?
That's basically.
Blanco?
The green dot is basically where my ranch is, where we share fence lines.
Right. Okay, Mary, where's Mary? Okay, Mary had something she wanted to bring up. And if anybody, does anybody else have any other business that we didn't? And thank you for hanging in here. I know we went late today. I really appreciate you hanging in here.
Sign up for state meetings.
Yeah, sign up if you're interested in going to the annual meeting. There's still sign up going on until, well, early bird is this month, and then goes full price starting September 1st.
And just real quick, the Friends had started to reevaluate deep. Okay, so the schools are consolidating, the classes are getting larger, and they either, well, they don't want to come because they want to bring all the kids at once. We're talking anywhere up to 120 students. And we can't handle that with our current rotation. So we put together a committee and we're evaluating different options. And we're looking at going up to possibly 8 stations and breaking up where we hold the different stations. So I just want to give you a heads up because 8 stations means the need for more volunteers. So nothing's going to happen this fall because we also have some facilities we need to build. So there'll be some construction projects coming up. So I just want to give you a heads up, let you know it's coming and that there will be changes. But this fall, we will be operating at business as usual. So I encourage you to get out and volunteer. It's a great way to get volunteer hours. It's also a great way to get your some initial training hours. The other thing I wanted to talk about is several years ago, I gave a talk on bald eagles. I'm sure some of you remember that. Yes. Very famous bald eagle passed away this week. Some of you probably already know. Jackie, a very famous nest in Big Bear Valley, was found grounded and she didn't make it. And she was sick. She had an illness of some sort, which they never could identify. But they did discover she had blood clots near her kidneys and blood clots in her wings. And she passed away a few days ago. So she and Shadow were known worldwide. Okay. This spring, they had over 50,000 people online watching that nest when the babies hatched and were growing up. So it will be interesting. The camera is still live. This is not their breeding season. Breeding season, mating season will be late in the year for them. It's generally in December. So it will be interesting to see what happens. Generally, the eagles are very nest. They stay with the nest. Okay. So there will be, I'm sure, an active nest there this year. And who's in it, it's hard to tell. But anyway, I wanted to share that because that's worldwide news. So So anyway, keep an eye out for the deep information as we develop the new programs and stuff. We will be communicating to the group, but that's going to be down the road.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, anything, burning topic? Okay, all right, so for today,
1.75 AT,
okay, 1.75 for AT, that's a lot.
0.75 BP.
0.75
VS.
volunteer service.
Yeah.
VS, not the.
Bus driver.
Okay. All right. Okay, all right, so, again, our, Commissioners Court thing will be on the Tuesday before our next meeting. So, our next meeting will be September 9th. It's an evening meeting. It's gonna be here. Bring somebody, okay? And, hopefully we'll see you all here.